Smash and Compare!
Hello everyone, welcome to Smash and Compare. Today we are here to talk about the cutest vacuum cleaner you've ever met, Kirby. The Smash Bros. Kirby, not the vacuum brand, because who doesn't love this little puffball? Kirby's entry involves him entering the stage via a star. No, really, he rides a warp star and crashes into battle. Warp stars come from the Kirby series and they transport you to different places. Even the way Kirby crashes and spins to the ground is a reference to the original game. Kirby's jump, dash, and walk cycles are all references to their counterparts in most Kirby titles. His regular ground combo in each game is Kirby performing 2 jabs, followed by a bunch of weak punches. This does around 12% in 64, around 10% in Melee, 9% in Brawl, and 8% in Smash 4. The attack comes from the move Vulcan Jab, a move that Kirby could learn from gaining the fighter ability in games like Kirby Superstar. For his F-tilt, Kirby will do a quick roundhouse kick. The move can be angled and does 8 to 10% in 64, 6 to 11% in Melee, 8% in Brawl, and Smash 4. This move may reference the running attack from the fighter ability. Kirby's up tilt is a kick in the air. This move is really good for juggling foes. It's known as one of the best moves in Smash 64 for its ability to break shields when repeatedly used. The attack is really fast and is a good usage for combos. It does 6 to 14% in 64, 4 to 6 in Melee, 5 to 7 in Brawl, and 4 to 5 in Smash 4. Kirby's down tilt is a kick that's close to the ground. It performs 7 to 9% in 64, 5 to 10% in Melee, 5% in Brawl, and 6% in Smash 4. Later in Brawl, it would gain the ability to trip opponents, allowing for a follow-up move such as a dash attack. Speaking of, Kirby's dash attack is a move that just can't make up its mind on what it wants to be. There's a saying that goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If that's true, then Kirby's dash attack must be more broken than your average FIFA game. In Smash 64, Kirby just sort of runs into you. In Melee, Kirby used the burning ability from games such as Kirby's Adventure, and covered himself with fire while shooting himself forward. In Brawl and Smash 4, it was changed yet again, to this kicking, involving his yo-yo attack from games like Superstar. In 64, this performs 8 to 10%, in Melee 4 to 8, in Brawl 10, and around 7% in Smash 4. His forward smash is a kick forward that does good knockback. This move has pretty good speed, and in 64 was the strongest F-smash in the game. The move can be angled and is a reference to the running attack from the fighter ability in Kirby Superstar. Uncharged, it does 7 to 17% in 64, 8 to 15% in Melee, 15 to 16 in Brawl, and 15 in Smash 4. Fully charged, it does 11 to 20% in Melee and 21% in Brawl and Smash 4. His up smash is a flip kick in the air, very similar to Fox's up smash. It does more damage the closer opponents are to Kirby's feet. Uncharged, it does 6 to 17% in 64, 8 to 15% in Melee, 15 in Brawl, and 15 in Smash 4. Fully charged, it does 12 to 20% in Melee, 21% in Brawl, and 21% in Smash 4. Kirby's down smash. He will do a kinda spinny, split-kicky move, similar again to Fox's down smash. Uncharged, it does 7 to 18% in 64, 7 to 14% in Melee, 14% in Brawl, and Smash 4. Finally, charged, it does 11 to 14% in Melee, 19 to 20% in Brawl, and 19 to 21% in Smash 4. For his neutral air, Kirby seriously puts his foot down. Well, okay, it's more like a straight in front of him, similar to Mario or Yoshi's neutral air, but we digress. This move is a good finisher, as well as a good out-of-shield option, but that's just about Kirby in Smash 64. In Melee, Brawl, and Smash 4, Kirby will do an aerial cartwheel. This move definitely has below average knockback, so it's mainly used to space yourself from an opponent. It does 12 to 15% in 64, 5 to 10 in Melee, 12 in Brawl, and 10% in Smash 4. Now the forward air in 64 involves Kirby doing a drill kick forward. In all future games, it would simply be 3 kicks forward. The aerial doesn't do much knockback in any of these titles, and does around 9% in 64, 9 to 16 in Melee, and 12 in Brawl and Smash 4. His back air has always been, and will probably always remain, him kicking his feet back. In every game, this is arguably Kirby's best aerial and possibly one of his best moves. It's a great edgeguarding attack, and can even gimp while under the stage. It can also be useful for spacing. It does 6 to 16% in 64, 7 to 14% in Melee, 12% in Brawl, and 13% in Smash 4. In Smash 64, Kirby's up air is an aerial cartwheel. Sound familiar? That's because it's actually the same move. His neutral air, to be specific, from Melee, Brawl, and Smash 4 was his up air in Smash 64. In the other games, Kirby will do a flip kick in the air. His up air is actually one of the best KOing moves and has great knockback. It does 8 to 10% in 64, 8 to 15% in Melee, 10% in Brawl, and 9% in Smash 4. Now, Kirby's down air is him twirling his feet in a drill-like attack, similar to Fox or Luigi. While the move is weak, it does have a Meteor Smash, but that's also pretty weak. In fact, the Meteor Smash is almost useless in some situations unless you repeatedly use it. But hey, it is a multi-hitting attack, so it does do damage fairly quickly. It performs 2 to 3% per hit in 64, around 3 to 8% in Melee, 2% per hit in Brawl, and 1 to 2% per hit in Smash 4. When Kirby grabs you, his pummel is performed at a moderate speed. In Melee, however, his pummel has a bit of end lag. It does 2 to 3% in Melee, 1% in Brawl, and 1 to 2% in Smash 4. In Smash 64, his forward throw has him jump high into the air while grabbing his opponent and then slamming them into the ground. This move comes from the ninja up throw in Kirby Superstar. In the later games, the forward throw is now a little suplex. This new version of the grab can actually be used to start a few combos. So in Melee onward, the forward throw comes from the suplex backdrop ability in titles such as Kirby's Adventure and Kirby Superstar. It does 10 to 13% in 64, 5 to 8% in Melee, 8% in Brawl, and 5% in Smash 4. In every game, Kirby's back throw is a suplex done backwards, basically mirroring the forward throw he had in future games. The attack has a few decent combo options as well. For instance, it can lead into a back air in Smash 4. It does 4 to 8% in Melee and 8% in Brawl and Smash 4, and here's a fun fact. Did you know that the back and forward throws can be used as a Kirby side move in Melee? Because if Kirby grabs the opponent right on the edge and then jumps off the edge, they both die. Here's some footage. Kirby's up throw is one of those moves that's more climactic than useful. What Kirby will do is take the opponent, jump insanely high past the top of the screen, and come back into orbit, crashing the opponent on the ground. This jump is a move Ninja Kirby can do to enemies in Kirby Superstar. It's also an attack Fighter Kirby can use in Squeak Squad. It does 5 to 10% in Melee and 10% in Brawl and Smash 4. His down throw is him kicking the opponents a bunch of times while they lay on the ground, and then the finishing attack is stomping on them. This move does a good amount of damage and can be useful for comboing. It does 5 to 7% in Melee, while in Brawl and Smash 4 it does 1% per each kick and then 2% for the final blow. This move also comes from the ninja ability in Kirby Superstar. And for your information, Kirby's forward and backward throws in Melee can be escaped out of before they even do damage. Poor Melee version of Kirby. Nothing but a pink gum stain stuck at the bottom of the tier list. And since there's so much to talk about with Kirby, we're going to be splitting this episode into 2 parts. You can watch the second part by clicking the annotation above or by clicking the card. See you there!